Time and the dinner table is the perfect place to teach your kids a lot of super easy stuff. This is like quick win parenting. I'm back. I'm Rachel from A Mother Far From Home and Life School at Home. I am a mama of 5. I'm a routine mentor to many moms. So this is why what I'm talking about today, these are my dinner time routines where I help my kids, help us as a family, help us to grow, help strengthen them. And I hope that it will help do the same for your family. The first thing that I teach my kids at the dinner table that they practice and that they improve upon is conversation. And I'm gonna let you know something. Conversation don't come naturally. It does to me because I'm a talker, but lots of people struggle with conversation. Kids struggle with listening and asking questions. They just wanna talk about themselves, or they don't wanna make no kind of eye contact, or they just wanna talk about really long stories that are not very interesting that go on and on and on. There is an art to conversation, to learning how to tell a story. So sometimes we'll actually role play on how to tell a good story. What makes a story good? We'll ask questions. How was your day? What happened here? If one child's dominating conversation, why don't you ask somebody else a question? We learn to go around at times. I'm not gonna lie. We've had a talking stick. That's right. I got 5 kids, they interrupt, so we practice not interrupting. This is a great time when you're all sitting here, you're sort of captive eating, to practice the natural flows of conversation. The next thing I teach, or the next thing we do at the dinner table, is to talk about social situations and conversations. I'm big about preparing and equipping my kids and everybody's kids. I have an entire community for moms called Life School at Home that's in the description, where we equip kids. And I'm not just talking about chores for life. I'm talking about equipping them for everything. So I got these cards a while ago. It's like 52 social, let's see, essential social dilemmas. You know, it's just a great conversation starters. So it goes into different scenarios: avoiding distractions, navigating vulnerability, taking ownership. So each of these cards, and I'll link them below, gives a situation, and it says, what would you do? What would you do if your friend wanted you to cheat on a test? What would you do if your friend was making fun of you a lot and it started to hurt your feelings? All of these type of questions. These are prime dinner time. Oh, these are good. I've noticed growth in my kids because whenever I would ask a question at the beginning, you know, when we first started doing this, it might be like, I would do nothing, or I would say they were stupid and never talk to them again. As time grows, we do more and more of this. They learn to think, they learn to see some nuance. Then they start having some good and deep and thoughtful answers to these questions. I really think equipping our kids beforehand and getting them used to thinking is huge. The next thing we teach and or practice at the dinner table is waiting our turn, taking turns. Now this is passing food. This might be getting seconds. It might be wanting to tell a story. I often will ask one question and then we'll go around the table and give everybody a chance to answer. And I'm gonna tell you, for some talkers, this is painful. It's real painful to wait for other people to speak. It's so painful to wait for like 4 people to speak. And a lot of times it happens that the child gets around and they're like, I forgot what I was gonna say. And sometimes that's probably because it wasn't that important, or sometimes it's because it actually takes, it's a skill to hold on to what you were thinking and listen and engage and be an active listener to others. Conversation and listening and engaging and caring about others. This is, it is learned. Although we can feel it inside, it takes some practice. Don't just let dinner become a chaotic nightmare. Certainly don't let anybody bring books or toys or screens to dinner. No. Take dinner time, because it is a super, super important time of bonding. Lots of research about this. There's entire books and things that talk about how important the dinner table is, and it seems like something that you're like, but it's just dinner. But it's so much more than dinner. The next thing I like to do at dinner time, and we do this in my life school. So this is every month in Life School at Home, you have one life skill or closely set of life skills that you're teaching your kids. Just one, okay? Slow and steady wins the race. But one thing that we have in Life School is a life lesson every month, and that is like a little saying or a little proverb that we want to think through with our kids that's on that same topic. So this was from last month when we were in spring and we were talking about cleaning, and the philosophy quote that I had there was, happiness spring cleans the heart. So this is just an example. So I will come to the kids and I'll be like, okay, here is this proverb, happiness spring cleans the heart. What do you think that means? And now I have a daughter and 4 boys. So I'm just gonna be honest, my daughter gives the best answers, but it's just good fun for everybody. But really, they have given some great answers, like, well, it means when you're happy, it clears out the cobwebs. So this is a good time to bring these kind of more nebulous, abstract concepts and get your kids thinking. This is like what sets kids apart from who just spend hours and hours and hours a day playing a game, but don't know how to think. They don't have any kind of elevated creative thinking. We don't want that for our kids. I want my kids to be thinkers. I want them to be able to apply lots of different life situations. And so I will bring in philosophy to the dinner table as a concept for us to talk about. And I see that it makes a difference because I see when they come home from situations at school or church or wherever, and they're able to apply deeper, much more nuanced, critical thinking, I see that it pays dividends. Another thing that I teach at the dinner table is, of course, manners. Now, I got this book a while ago, and I'll link it in the description, and I don't even have a teenager, but it says 52 modern manners for teens today. And it just goes through, I'll just pick a random one. Okay, you attract what you put into the world. If you want more positivity, be more positive. If you want friends who lift you, lift others. If you wish the world was kinder, start with yourself. If you can't stand drama, don't feed it. Anyway, so it goes into various, and there's like 52 of them, different types of manners. So when we're at the dinner table, we're already practicing manners like, I'll link that below. But when we're at the dinner table, we're already practicing manners like, you know, not eating with our mouths full or not wiping our hands on our shorts. I'm just failing it. Those with my kids. We're working on it. You know, waiting our turn, asking to get up, this type of thing. But it's also a good time to talk about manners in general. So again, you'll notice the trend, conversation is where everything is being learned here. So talking about different types of manners, and we often talk about, because kids will learn this type of thing in school, what other countries consider manners that we don't have, and all of us together is just super interesting. And the last thing, and I think I saved this for last, it might seem weird, but I think that this is really important, is because kids can think of us as like we didn't exist before we had them. And because when they're little, we're so centered on all of their needs. They're gonna have a snack, they're gonna have a nap, we're gonna have a cuddle, we're gonna read some books. It's like we are totally focused on them. It's almost like they forget we were people before them. But kids love to hear about your personal life and your stories and things you did when you were a child and places you went, situations you had with your friends, funny life stories. They love it. And I think it is good for kids to see us as real people. Dinner time is a great time for you to talk about yourself. Talk about yourself. You guys can just share, oh, you know what was funny that happened to me, or a story that happened to them. Assume your kids care and want to learn about you because they do love you. They do want to know. And it's a great time to just be more human before them. I will share kids stupid stuff I've done, or maybe mistakes that I made, or whatever applies. I use this time as an opportunity to show them I'm just human. I'm just a mom. This is how I think. And this is this is my last point that I didn't put as a point, but I'm just like gonna add it because I like to add points. Now I forgot my point, is to share why you do what you do, what you were thinking, how you think. This is a huge gift you can give to your kids. Okay, so for example, if the kids are like, we ran out of XYZ today in the pantry, but I just bought groceries 3 days ago. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go back to the store. They're like, well, why? Why can't we just go get that one thing we want? So this is the chance where I explain to them, well, I like to buy groceries once a week. And I know we're gonna run out of some stuff, but if I go back to the store every time I run out of something, I would be going back all the time. And that's a waste of money. So I like us to try to figure out how to make these things last as much as they can. And when they're gone, we just wait until the next time. So this is a simple thing that in our mind, we're like, duh, but our kids don't necessarily know that. And so when we can give them the gift of why we do what we do, we're helping them learn how we think that can help make them better thinkers later. So I highly encourage you to have dinner time with your kids, to make it a point. Don't just let them eat and you go do something else and you eat later. Like or if you're doing that when they're really little, when they get a little older, use that as a time. And yes, I mean, your kids are gonna have to be 4 or up, I guess, for this to really apply, but use it as a time to really just bond with them and get to know them and let them get to know you. And this is really the stuff that strong families are made of. If you liked this video, you are gonna love my next video where I talk about 8 things that actually cause entitlement that we didn't even realize. Make sure and check that out.